Well, you know something, Hulkamaniacs? Hulk Hogan is back, brother. And the Hulkamaniacs are running wild through and through like they've always for years, brother. Hulk Hogan is back and reinstated Jack in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I got one question for you, brothers. One question for you, brothers. What are you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?
What up there, guys? This is Jughead82, and this is just another video, kind of like a follow-up of the last video I did about Hulk Hogan being reinstated in the Hall of Fame. This is not an apology. This is not anything saying I should have never uploaded a video and all that bullshit. It's First of all, I would like to thank you guys who watched the video. It's got almost 150 views, man. I appreciate it. Probably because of the subject in general, but I've seen a couple of videos out, and I've seen a bunch of the wrestlers that wrestle for the WWE. I respect the wrestlers who wrestle for the WWE and wrestlers in general. I'm a huge wrestling fan. You guys didn't know I love wrestling. I mean, hell, when I first started doing this channel in general, I did wrestling impressions and videos about wrestling as it relates to the programs and so forth that came on television. This is what I have to say to the general idea about Hulk Hogan in general. Like I said, I've read the transcripts, I've seen the actual video, and the message about it was wrong. I know that. I understand that what he said was wrong. But with that being said, I've seen the person in general in public as well as on television and so forth. And you know, they say there's 50 Shades of Grey, or there's the innuendo, not everything is black and white, no pun intended, that what you see from people is so much different than what they are in real life. That being said, there are a lot of people that work in the WWE that are against, and these are wrestlers that are against Hulk Hogan being reinstated in the Hall of Fame. And to that, I say this: bullshit. There are people in the Hall of Fame that were accused of murdering people. There are people in the Hall of Fame that actually murdered somebody. Now, people say, well, the Vaughn Gardner situation, yes, he was suffering from dementia, and you know, he didn't have all his faculties, but it happened. The situation with Jimmy Snuka, he wasn't acquitted. And I'm not going to say that happened because they said that, you know, of the situation in general. But there are a lot of other Hall of Famers that are in the WWE Hall of Fame that have questionable history. They have questionable situations. And when it comes to Hulk Hogan, you use that whole, he said this shit on a video that he didn't even know was fucking being recorded, first of all. And this is the question I gotta ask anybody. And this is what defects the whole black and white scenario in the middle part. How many times, including myself in general, including people around you, how many times you said something, hell, to a person in person, or just said something, probably just by yourself, where you felt you said something that was out the way, that was wrong, that was negative? It could be a racial situation. It could be something where you said something about a particular female or male. And this is what it falls under also about when I used to watch wrestling back in the day, like the Attitude Era too. Because in the Attitude Era, they said a lot of things that if they said that now, WWE would have lawsuits out the ass from just general situations of what happened back then. Then you also have to factor in the fact that, I said this in the last video, so many people are so just on that border. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with people creating a bond with each other of peace and togetherness, if you will. But you don't forget the history of past, because you understand that in the history of past, there were things said, there were things did, there were things that were put in light. And you don't forget the past, because they always say, if you don't remember the past, you're doomed to repeat it. That is so fucking true. People need to grow the fuck up. Grow some cojones, balls. Grow some balls. And understand that what this person did was not vindictive of anything that's been seen in history. But at the same time, what this person did is definitely different from what you've seen in history. You have not seen Hulk Hogan with a damn white hood over his fucking head doing outrageous shit. And there was also a comedian who stated the fact that when a white person, as a comedian, says the N-word, is it wrong? But a black person, as a comedian, says the N-word all the time, is okay. See, like I said, when I sat there and said about I'm a huge Paul Mooney fan, is the fact that a word can be decreased. The power of the word can be decreased. And you can put that word in retrospect and say, hey, this word has no meaning. Because at the end of the day, you sit there and try to categorize a lot of things. This wrestler here, this is the DVD I have, of course, Hulk Hogan right here. I feel Hulk Hogan is a great wrestler, a great showman in the ring, great entertainer, and half of you guys wouldn't even know what the fucking WWE was if it wasn't for him. His character alone spoke a lot for the golden age of wrestling. Is it wrong to put him in the Hall of Fame? Hell no. He should have stayed in the Hall of Fame. He should have never even been put out of the Hall of Fame. And when people sit there and throw this whole, oh, what you did? Man, think about this. There's a whole lot of shit that's been going on in media in general with celebrities and so forth about that whole curtain where you don't see what goes behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz. You don't see the great all-powerful Oz. You only see the illusion of what you thought the Oz was. It's just like this. And at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is a human being just like the rest of us. It's crazy. And a lot of people say I look like Mark Henry. Matter of fact, I've been growing my beard out. Probably shave my head, and I probably could be pretending to be Mark Henry in this video. But I'm going to say this. With respect to wrestling and with respect to Hulk Hogan, I feel at the end of the day, he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of people, like I said, they're 50-50. That's how Mark Henry put it when it came to some of the black wrestlers that wrestled for the WWE, actually. And I have to say this about you guys. The chances that you had to even get in the WWE was actually surprisingly because of a wrestler like Hulk Hogan. It's crazy, but it's so fucking true. And like I said there and said, if you think about the history of Hulk Hogan in general, half that stuff he said in that video, yeah, it was fucked up. But you gotta think about this too. He's a human being. We all make fucking mistakes. If we put something in our bodies, we make mistakes. If we say something out the way to our own family, we make mistakes. That's why I sit there and said sometimes you have to sit there and know how to forgive. You don't forget in a sense, but you have to forgive on the simple fact that we all make fucking mistakes. Ain't no person perfect. None that I've seen in my fucking life. Ain't nobody fucking perfect. And I think it's sad that in this situation with him being put back and reinstated in the Hall of Fame, and I saw the video where they actually showed a video of Hulk Hogan promoting self-aware, like a thing for WWE, and I noticed the video was the comments were disabled. I felt the WWE should do this. Don't disable the comments. See your fan base. See it for what it is. Because, see, everybody can't forgive. Everybody can't forget. But the sad thing about it is you have to also look at the fact that when you sit there and throw that whole race card, and this is the thing that I always look at, and I've seen a lot of videos. I've seen a lot of videos on my phone where it's black, white, black, white. And I've seen a lot of fucked up ass videos. I've seen a lot of videos that really would just be like, wow. And it's, you know, the thing I always look at it like this. I'm friends with a lot of police officers in my area. And I can say this, that they're good people. Whether they're black or they're white. And my whole thing is just like I said there and said, reality is a whole lot different than what people see. I've seen a lot of videos where you show a lot of nastiness about people. Because here's the thing about this. At the end of the day, everyone has a butthole. They're assholes. Some people can be assholes, some people cannot be assholes. There are a lot of good police officers out there. And there are a little bit of some that are bad. You don't categorize all of them as being bad. And I know in my community, there's a lot of people of my race that consider police officers bad because they feel like what they've seen. But that's not always the case. I've seen police officers who have seen people doing something that's illegal in traffic, pull them over and just give them a warning and let them go. You don't see that all the time in social media when they show videos. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of good people. Hulk Hogan is a good person. I believe that. I truly do believe that he's a good person. And I say that out of respect because at the end of the day, like I said before, we've always, as people, as individuals, we've always had ourselves in situations where we say something that might not be politically correct. And this is coming from a 36-year-old man who grew up in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, who saw a lot of shit where it wasn't always passe, if you will, where what you saw on TV was what it was. That's another thing I hate about television nowadays is because everybody wants to make sure they don't hurt and offend nobody. Fuck that. Sometimes offense can wake up a whole lot of eyes to reality. And that's the truth. Understandably, that's the truth. Because at the end of the day, we all have our quote unquote quirks. We sit there and say that we're straight and narrow, but we're not. Sometimes we're not straight and narrow. Sometimes we find ourselves in a contest of this, the brain, trying to control what we see or control what we think, and we know that. And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, when a lot of people knock Hulk Hogan about what he did, and that was 3 fucking years ago. I'm sure those 3 years he was able to fucking truly really reanalyze himself and truly understand what he was doing that put him in the situation he's in. And at the end of the day, like I say, it's also called, like I say, calls on the same pack that it could be understood, like the situation with the guy who recently resigned, Papa John's Pizza. He said some racial slurs and what they call play call, a role play call or some shit like that. I don't have a fucking clue what that is, so don't ask me. But he said something out the way, and it got his ass in a lot of trouble, and he resigned from being. You've seen the Papa John commercials for the pizza, and he's basically resigned because of what he said. That's a whole different end. Hulk Hogan was recorded not knowing he was being recorded. And like I said, we've all, maybe, I'm not saying all in general, but there are some people who have been put in situations where they've said something and it was just out of not knowing that there was a camera. Isn't it? That's the weird thing about social media in general now. Anything that's seen can be misinterpreted. But like I said, I feel Hulk Hogan being put in the Hall of Fame or be reinstated in the Hall of Fame is not an issue because I think some way it kind of has to be understood. Hulk Hogan, of course, some of the wrestlers said that when he stood in front of them at the recent WWE pay-per-view, he seemed ingenuine or some shit like that. I can't say because I didn't actually see it, but of course they said there were cameras there to record it. So of course when they do put up together a documentary, if they actually put it together, because the WWE is so PR these days, if they do something, they have to hurry up and backtrack on it. It was kind of like with the Mae Young Classic situation. My whole thing with that is another situation altogether. But I feel like this, at the end of the day, the man helped build that company, and it relates to the WWE as a whole. you cannot swipe away what Hulk Hogan did for that company. Hell, your fucking WWE network, most of pretty much a lot of your fucking content goes from WCW when he went there back in '94 and whatnot, and also of course the golden age of wrestling. Hell, you cannot even not put anything on there that didn't have Hulk Hogan in it. Hell, fuck it. WrestleMania 1 all the way up to WrestleMania fucking 9, Hulk Hogan. And then also, like I said, you got to look at all that in retrospect. And hell, fuck it. You got Michael Hayes still in the WWE. And it's been wrestlers who said, even Mark Henry, about Michael Hayes. And he's still contractually with the company in general. So when this little bitch ass shit happened right here, when you sit there and throw this man in the fucking, you want to put somebody as a scapegoat, and all of a sudden you got, oh no, not Hulk Hogan, please, not Hulk Hogan. Come on, man. Like I said, a lot of shit is it's hard to digest. 3 years, they literally took this guy out of video games and everything, and because of what? Some shit that happened on the camera. And by the way, he did win that lawsuit, and the reason he won it because of what was illegally did to him. And people keep on forgetting that part. And just like I said, some people need to sit there and understand that, yeah, racism exists. Will it end? Nah, probably not. But some people need to wake the fuck up. And I feel like I said, at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan being put back in the Hall of Fame is not a knock. It's not nothing. It's just something to let people know. He's back. He's a part of the WWF universe. WWE, whatever you want to say. Okay. So, yeah. Longest video, but I had to get my point off, man. But this is Jugget82, signing off.